Hi and welcome to episode 130 of the This is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law. I am the founder of this reportage and this reportage family, and I'm a photographer too. This week I'm joined by the fab Elodie Ruelleux-Dagorne, one of France's very best documentary wedding photographers and always an absolute pleasure to talk to. I've been fortunate to meet Elodie in real life numerous times now, and she's always so bubbly and friendly. Super to have her here on the podcast. She talks about lots of things today, including why she meets up and often has a drink with her couples before the day, the importance of being yourself, McDonald's menus in France, top tips for improving your documentary work, imposter syndrome, how she used to work in the music industry and stalking the Stereophonics, being social and how that's had an effect on so many things in her life, the story behind her Brad Pitt Toilet Reportage Award, and so much more. Before we get on to Elodie, just a couple of bits of news from me. I'm very excited to announce that we're having a This is Reportage and This Reportage family summer meetup in Paris, France next month, on Tuesday, 15th of August, 2023 to be exact. This is a totally informal meetup of members where we can all get together, chat and have a drink or few. It's totally free for members, of course, though the cocktails won't be free. Sorry about that. Members can also invite guests along, the more the merrier. Thanks again, loads to Elodie for finding and booking a venue for me, actually. Afraid I only know about 3 words in French. So, yes, thanks loads there, Elodie. Couldn't have done it without you. I'm looking forward to meeting loads of French photographers, but also some from elsewhere in Europe. If you're around or fancy a trip to Paris, it'd be fab to see you there. Members, details of the meetup have been included in the latest newsletters and in our private Facebook group too. Secondly, there's just a few days left to submit to our next awards round now. The deadline is the same for both our sites. Submit by 23:59 BST on the 24th of July 2023. All the best if you're entering. Right, over to Elodie. Hey Elodie, how you doing?
Hey, bonjour.
Well, yeah, I should have said bonjour. I should have said bonjour. That's like the limit of my French.
I'm going to teach you French the whole podcast.
How are you? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm at home in Paris. I think because you're British, I'm supposed to talk about the weather. So it's good enough weather today.
Yeah, what's it like?
No, it's actually fine. We had we have quite strong storms in France at the moment, but in Paris we're fine. So
okay, nice,
so all okay. It's about 31 degrees, which is a bit harrowing when you're working on a computer, but it's pretty good.
Is it that hot? Really, 31?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 31, and there was no wind in the last couple of days. So yes, you're working on the computer and just feeling the heat and trying to make like some wind inside your house by opening windows, but it doesn't work. So you're like, I can't stand post-production.
So, yeah, that's tough. It's tough in just British climate doing editing all the time, but in 31 degrees, that's tough. Yeah, no air conditioning then.
No, and I think it's going to get. I think we're not going to be able to have it anymore after 2025. There's a law or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or at least in Paris, I think. But yeah.
So is that just including private homes, or is that including like hotels?
Yeah, I think it's including private homes. So it's something about the changes we have to make, reclimate and stuff like that. But I mean, I would want to have the aircon anyway because it's only a few days a year, so it doesn't really justify aircon. Yes. You can just open the windows and just suffer for a couple of days. It's fine.
Yeah, that is true. And you live in such a fab city to just be able to go out and walk, and yeah, it's so lovely there. And I'm looking forward to. I want to say actually, let's start by saying a huge thank you, Elodie, for because you researched, found, and booked our venue for our upcoming This Reportage and This Reportage family meetup in Paris this August. So thanks so much for that. I couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, I'm well excited for it. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was pretty easy. It's just a question of knowing who's open on the 15th of August. But yeah.
Oh yeah, what an annoying date that I chose. So it's a public bank holiday.
No, but it's not. As I was telling you, it's not so much the public bank holiday. It's more like the first 2 weeks of August in Paris are usually quite closed, especially like small, nice businesses because Parisians basically go on holidays. So there's not many clients. So it's cheaper for them to just close the whole bar. And send the whole staff on holidays at the same time, rather than actually having to keep some stuff and then nobody's showing up, nobody's drinking, nobody's buying. So that's why. So it could have been like, even if it had been like the 14th, the 16th or whatever, it probably would have been the same.
Oh, so, okay, cool. Okay.
All good. Don't worry.
No, cool.
I mean,
I'm really
worst
looking
come
forward.
worst, we would have done it at home. Like,
Yeah, we would have done something. We would have done something. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. And anyone listening, yeah, so it's for this reportage and the reportage family members. It's just a informal gathering at a bar, cocktail place in the evening in central Paris. And yeah, it's just going to be fun. Meet everyone, and yeah, it'd be great. Members can bring friends along as well. It's very informal. Yeah, it should be really fun. So it's on Tuesday, August the 15th.
and if
Yeah.
anyone needs to sleep on the floor, I have room on the floor. But I've been like the French will laughing at this, but I've been waiting for my new sofa for like 2.5 months. So yeah,
2.5
you can
months.
sleep it on the floor.
Is it like handmade in like I don't know where?
No,
India?
it's just they got the delivery wrong, and then they got the product wrong, and then now they don't have any more product, and then whatever. It's super long and super boring. But yeah, so I have a couple of spots in actual beds, and then that's it. So those are already taken by the Belgian.
The Belgian.
The Belgians. No, there's actually only one coming. There's Martin. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool though that people are coming from outside of France as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited. Yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah, me too. I'm always excited to be drinking.
Yes. So am I. That is, and that's the first time we met. I think. Was it the first time we met? Was it at Nine Dots? Was it? I think it was.
Yeah, it was Nine Dots. Not last year, the year before.
Yeah, you were with Rocio, weren't you?
Yeah, when I was with Rocio, and then Christmas party, and then Nine Dots again, and then Christmas party again.
Yeah.
All the good booze places, basically.
Yeah. I love having you at the Christmas party as well. You're so fab to have around. It's so cool. And I was going to ask about that actually, because it's true. You're so social and so easy to talk to. Yeah, and I've got a little note here. I've had the pleasure of meeting you at real life events, which has been awesome. Do you think? Have you always been this kind of social, and do you think it's a big reason why you chose wedding photography?
Yeah, so yeah, I've always been social. Like when I was in high school and school in general, I didn't have really like one group. Sometimes you're just like a group person and you just like stick to that group. But like I would come to school, and in France we do la bise, so we kiss on the cheeks, and so I would go into into the courtyard, and just like it would take me like 20 minutes to say hi to everybody, because I just got along with everybody. So I mean, if you ask my sister, she would be like, no, you were not cool, like, because she was part of the cool ones and she was smoking and stuff like that. But so I wasn't like part of the smokers and the cool people, but then I got along as well with like normalish people, geeks. I mean, geeks are normal people. You're gonna
we are. I'm a geek. I'm a normal person.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like in high school, you sort of tend to like give a label to everybody. So yes, I was always quite sociable, and I do think that's basically what's brought me everywhere I've been in my life. Basically, all the jobs I've done were not because of what I knew, but more like who I met, and just like people calling you and going like, oh, hey, do you fancy this? Do you fancy that? Whatever. So so that's always helped.
Yeah, it's such a great skill to have.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it must massively help with the weddings. Do you arrive and you're straight away like making friends with people? I can't imagine you being like a silent wallflower and just not talking.
No, I don't think anyone can imagine me being silent. But full stop. But I mean, before the wedding already, like I'm very sociable, so I can't really imagine going to a wedding without knowing the couple. And then
do you make that a big deal beforehand? Do you really?
I mean, it's not always possible, especially with COVID. But yeah, it's always. So obviously we do video call to talk about whether they want me or not and how I work and and my approach. But then if we sign the contract, then I always go for drinks with them. Nice. So either I go to their place or we go out. I mean, if they have children, it's easier for me to go to their place. That's obviously if they're in Paris. But also in like this year, I had some British and Italian couple getting married in Italy, and they live in London. So when I came to London last, we made sure that we would meet up. So I always try and make a point of meeting up with them.
Do you have like proper drunken like 4 a.m. nights out with them?
It depends on what couple, because not all of them are alcoholics like me. But yeah, no, we do. So we either have lunch or we go for drinks, or
That's
or
really
I
cool.
meet the kids at home or something. But also I do that. So just because I know British people, like you have a lot of weddings a year. Like we have a smaller season in France because it's a lot more weather dependent.
Oh, okay. Right.
So I don't do like 40 weddings a year. Like I do 16 max. So that's easier
that's
to
a
do
good
if you
number.
do 16, So yeah. So I don't want
really
people
cool.
to go like, oh my God, like how does she do it and whatever. It's just like, it's 16, so it's quite easy to handle. So.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But I think that's really cool that you do that with your couples. And it must really help them be just totally relaxed with you on the day then, when you've already been out with them and seen them having a drink.
Yeah, and it helps me as well. It's a bit selfish as well for me to do that, because it helps me sort of understand who they are better, and so I feel more at ease. So I'm gonna not hesitate in taking this or that picture, because I'll be like, okay, we definitely know each other. It's not like they didn't understand the approach or anything. They just know that this is how I work, and I just know that they're this sort of character. So I'll try and adapt to it. And
it makes total sense.
And before I go to weddings, I also ask for the names of their parents, brothers and sisters, best men and bridesmaids. And I learn them by heart pretty much. So when I arrive and I'm being introduced to like the wedding party, I just already know their names, and it helps a lot with them feeling at ease with you as well. So
that is good.
I try and do little things like that. Yeah.
Have you got some kind of like memory trick to be able to remember all their names or something? How do you do that?
No, so yes, it's the same trick that I did in school, which is I'm one of those people that doesn't remember anything, which is why I'll be shit at the quiz later. But I have a really good short-term memory. So if I read something the night before, I will remember it the next day. But then 3 days later, if you tell me like what was my dad's name, I probably will have forgotten.
That's cool. You're delivering a really personal service there then, really personalized. I think that's really, really cool. Do you not get nervous, like just going out and meeting your couples then and just going for a drink? You're not getting nervous?
No. I would get nervous if I hadn't done that. Like, so I would arrive at the wedding, and if I didn't really understand the characters or something, I'd be like, can I be like this? Can I be like that? So like the start of the wedding would be a little bit trickier. But no, I don't. And I always, I'm sort of the type of person that goes, better be yourself. And if they don't book you, then it's fine, because if you're not yourself and they book you, and then on the day, it doesn't go well because whatever, I don't know, you're making jokes and they're not finding them funny, or you're talking too much, because obviously I talk, and they're finding it, it's just like that way they know what they're getting into. And that's one thing I tell them when we do the video call. I always tell them, look, if you're already fed up with me talking after 1 hour, do not book me, because, I'll be in your face the whole day. So you're going to have me in your face the whole day. So
that's so funny, Elodie. I literally say on my Zooms, by the way, I don't talk like this at the wedding itself. I'd say there's a lot of information to get across, but I'm super quiet on the wedding. It's so funny. But I totally 100% agree with you that you just need to be yourself, and they need to book you for who you are. It's just as important, or if not more important than the images. So yeah, like I know you shouldn't be announcing publicly that you love McDonald's and that you go to McDonald's every wedding, but that's just, it's a fun part of my life. I enjoy it. So I have no qualms about showing that on social media. If people turn their nose up at that, then they're not the kind of clients that I want, so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, don't worry. We have McDonald's in France.
That is good. Yeah, I saw, what was it? Oliver, I think, noted that.
Yeah, it was Oliver.
4-minute walk away from the venue, the Meetup venue.
No, honestly, any McDonald's is pretty much 4 minutes walk away from any venues here, I guess. So in Paris, you have a lot.
That is good.
But what about Burger King, though? You don't like Burger King?
Not more. I will have it at a pinch if there's nothing left. If there's nothing around, it's all right. Which do you prefer? Don't say you prefer Burger King.
I actually prefer Burger King, but actually don't eat meat. So that's also why I prefer Burger King, because when I lived in London, because I used to live in London, they had like the veggie Whopper, which was super nice. And then they closed all the Burger Kings. But yeah, I don't eat meat. But McDonald's basically think that you don't eat if you don't eat meat. So the filet of fish is super small. And then,
they've got that McPlant thing, though, haven't they? And they've got a McPlant in the UK McDonald's.
Yeah, I think they've just started. They might have brought it here now, but they used to have like this crappy veggie one that was sort of hidden behind the shelf. Like you had to ask if they did it or not, and it was just like gross. So yeah, sorry. sorry.
Oh
sorry
no, it is.
Damn, it was all going so well.
I was going to ask you that actually. Do you have does the McDonald's in France, do they have the McSpicy?
I think so, but I think I saw an ad about it. Like I don't go into McDonald's, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
No,
well, that's
sorry.
Cool. I hope they do. I hope they do.
So this is the end of the podcast, right? You're like,
yeah, let's end it.
No McDonald's, no.
That's funny. I'm excited because just before the Paris meetup, I'm going with my kids and my wife to Disneyland Paris. We've never been, to any Disneyland, so very excited about that. And there's a McDonald's in Disney Village. There's a McDonald's there. How cool is that? It's so cool. It is cool. It's funny. I did a Zoom actually last night with because I'm shooting a wedding in the south of France after the meetup as well. And at the end of the Zoom, they said and they said to me at the end of the Zoom, they said, "Oh, sorry, but the nearest McDonald's is only is like a 20-minute drive away." So they knew already from my social media that it's really cool.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, where is it in France?
It is near Montflanquin or something, near like half an hour away from Bergerac.
Okay. Yeah.
Down that way. I'm awful with geography. I'm awful with Cornwall geography, so I'm even worse with French geography.
I'm going to Cornwall.
You're going where? Cornwall. Yes, you are. Yes. When is it? When is it? Is it March next year? Is it or April?
No, it's April.
April. Yeah.
I'm coming to your turf.
Yes, it's so cool. I'm going to be seeing you there because you're coming to it's the 9 Dots retreat thing, isn't it?
Retreat. Yeah.
So
coming to that, of course.
Yeah. Do you know what are you doing? How are you getting there and stuff?
Well, I have no idea. It's in April. I'll probably check it out in like February or something. No, if I can, I'll just train it because I'm really I fly a lot already, and I'm trying to train it whenever I can. So probably I'll take a train to London, go and visit friends, and then take a train to Cornwall.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about 5 hours on the train from Cornwall, but yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, and we have the Eurostar, going straight from Paris to London. So
that's handy, isn't it?
It's probably easier rather than flying it. So I think I'll do that.
So I'm looking forward to seeing you then. That's going to be fun. Show you a bit of Cornwall as well. Cornwall is lovely. It is lovely.
I'm sure.
You mentioned there, Elodie, how you lived in London, and I heard that you worked for about 15 years in the music industry. So, let's delve back into can you tell us more about that? What were you doing in the music industry? Was it photography related or not?
No, it wasn't photography related at all. So basically, when I was a kid, I had one passion. It was music. I would spend all my summers being a sado at home and listening to I'm allowed to say that, I think, because it's a British podcast. But I was listening to Bryan Adams and Bon Jovi.
Oh wow! Okay, old school, nice.
Super uncool, but definitely more uncool in France.
Okay, is it really? Yeah.
And I would just listen to the same album again and again, and just be a massive fan of music, of shit music, obviously, but still music. And then I got really into Britpop, and that was my obsession.
Oh, that's cool. I did as well at the time. Were you Oasis or Blur fan?
No, I was Blur. Oh, no. My best friend is Oasis, so that was a bit tricky. But yeah, I'm a Blur person. I really liked the first album of Oasis, which at the time I had on cassette,
Oh yeah, old school, nice. Yeah, definitely made me.
Yeah, old school. Great. And then I got really into that music, and so I think I told you that already. But so I started stalking this band called Stereophonics. So they were coming to France, and we had nothing else to do with my best friend, so we would go and see them all the time. And then we got to know them, and then they invited us on the whole UK tours and stuff like that.
Really? So what? You got to know them?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. It was, but because in France it's smaller venues, so you can always sort of meet bands and ask for an autograph or whatever. So they started seeing our faces and they would recognize us, and then we really wanted to go to the UK because we were such fans of UK music. And so we asked Kelly one day, the singer, we're like, is there a way, one of your tech people told us that we can be on some guest list? We didn't even know what it was. Do you think we could do it at one date in the UK? And he was like, which one do you want? I'm like, wow, we don't know, because we'd like to go to London, but then we'd really like to go to Manchester as well. And he goes, well, I can put you on all the dates if you want. Really? So we ended up being those people following them around.
Oh, that is cool though.
But Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's going back to what I was telling you about being sociable with everybody. Because thanks to the Stereophonics, we got to know this radio DJ in France, and then he invited us to this party one night. And then I heard this guy at this party behind me saying, "Oh, as a press officer for this French band," and I just like sort of turned around, cut him off in his conversation. I was like, "Are you a press officer in the music industry? Like, how do I become you?" And then he told me what he'd done as studies and stuff like that. And then after 10 minutes, he was like, "I need an intern from Monday. Do you want to do it?" Yeah, and that's how
No
it started.
way. That just comes from you being sociable and just going for it as well, and isn't it?
And drinking.
So cool. And drinking. Yeah. All good things come from drinking. Wow, that's so cool. And so how many gigs do you think you saw of Stereophonics then?
Stereophonics, we were actually counting at the time with my friend, and we stopped counting after, I think, 55.
No, man, that's mad. That is so.
So probably
that's
now,
cool.
I've probably now seen like about 70 or something, because they do come back sometimes. And they came back a couple of years ago when I was still, like, not a couple of years ago, a bit more, like maybe 4 years ago. They got signed to the record company where I was working.
Oh, wow.
So my
That's
colleague
cool.
was like, "Oh, yeah, it was super cool." It was super funny because my colleague was like, "Oh, do you want to come and meet them? Because, they've asked to meet like people from the record company." I was super ashamed. I was like, "Oh no, I can't do that. Like, they will definitely remember me." And then, and then it went fine. Like, Kelly was super happy to see us, and he was like telling us about his kids and his parents, because we all also knew the parents and stuff. But yeah,
Cool.
so yeah,
Is he a
so
nice
that's how I
guy?
ended up in the music
Is he nice?
industry. He's super nice. Yeah, he's super
Yeah.
nice. They were always really. So it wasn't like a groupy thing where we wanted to pull them or anything. It was just really,
Okay.
like,
I
geeky
wasn't gonna go there. That's that.
no. It was always like the geeky fans, and they would always pay attention to us because we were young. So when they played
that's
the
nice.
Brixton Academy, for example, they sent us a message saying, "Tomorrow, come at 3, because we know you're going to want to walk around, but Brixton is dangerous." And they had like a bomb like 2 weeks before or something. It was in 98 or 99, I can't remember. And they were like, "Yeah, show up at 3, because we'll arrive at 3 with the tour bus. So then we just get you into the venue and you don't move anymore. You stay there because it's safe."
Oh,
like,
that's
okay,
really nice, though, isn't it? That's super nice.
No, that's super nice.
Do you know what? We've not mentioned many bands on this podcast. We've done loads of episodes, but one band we have mentioned before is Stereophonics, because Darren Kerwin, who I interviewed on the podcast, he was a big fan of Stereophonics as well, actually. So that's funny. I only like that one song. It was like 1,000 Trees or something. That was
from the first album. Yeah,
that is a good tune. You must have seen some good support bands over there. Seeing them so often as well. I must have seen good support bands.
Yeah, it's actually funny you're asking this question because, again, like the people you meet and everything. So they had this support band called the Crockett's at the time. And then when we moved to London with my best friend, we kept on going to see the singer's new band, because like we were like, okay, come on, he's had to bear us for like so many years. Like, let's go and support his new band. So we went to gigs, and that's how I met my ex-boyfriend, who was like the guitarist of the new band. And,
oh wow, cool.
The person I spent like 6 years with when I was in London. So it's just like, it's like there's a whole maybe 15 years of my life that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't met the Stereophonics, which is super strange. Like,
that's
work-wise.
What a cool story.
Yeah,
that's
pretty,
mad.
Pretty interesting.
Was your English is so perfect? I mean, did that come from living in London, or did you already speak like fluently before then?
No. I studied English at school, and then I did it a bit at university as well. But I only did like 2 years of university before I moved to London. And then, so it's London definitely. And then my sister lives in Ireland. My niece and nephews only speak English pretty much, and I travel a lot, so obviously I speak English all the time.
Oh, that's cool. Where in Ireland?
I still make mistakes and stuff, but she's in County Meath, so it's like an hour northwest of Dublin.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, you should come to Dock Day, and then you could go and visit your sister.
But I can't, because it's always like in February, and I'm traveling in the winter. I'm nowhere near.
Okay, we'll talk about your travels later. But that's cool. Okay, so from the music industry, then,
Yes.
how did you get into the wedding world? What's your story there?
Yeah, so I started taking pictures probably when I was about 18 or something. I actually have some pictures of the Stereophonics from back then. Cool, but just like that. And then I just love taking pictures of people. And then obviously your friends are like, "Oh, your pictures are amazing. You should become a professional, etc., etc." Which I didn't believe. And then I started thinking about it, and and thinking, okay, but what would I do? And for me, it was weddings immediately, not because I want to get married, not because I knew someone that did like amazing documentary wedding photography or anything like that. It's just because it was full of people, and it was, in my head, it was stressful, and I've always been better under stress.
Oh, really? That's a good trait.
Yeah, it's like if I'm running around, I'm happiest, because if I'm not running around, then I don't do anything. I just procrastinate. So I love being somewhere where you're just running around and you have to find solutions. And so in the music industry, I was doing like a lot of event work and brand partnerships, which is also a lot of event work. So okay. I'm very at ease with that kind of stuff. So for me, it was like, first of all, it was more of a service type job. So I didn't picture myself being like an artist, thinking of some sort of concept and then taking a picture of it, because for me, creativity was non-existent in me. So we have a bit of an imposter syndrome here, but yeah. So for me, it was just normal. I was like, okay, great. I can do people. I can do like stressful situations. I can do party. So that sounds fun. Let's do that, And
how did you get your first wedding then?
Through my colleagues, actually. I was telling my colleagues about it because they were also telling me, yeah, your pictures are amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then I had this colleague of mine that knew a girl working in a music management company getting married. And she was like, well, she's not taking a photographer. She's not getting one. Like the wedding is in like 3 weeks and she definitely hasn't planned to have one. So I can ask her if you want. And so that was my first wedding in Provence.
Did she have a good band at her wedding?
Yeah, she actually had Polo and Pan, the DJs. I don't know if they're famous in the UK, but she was like managing them. So yeah, she had those.
That's cool. That's handy. And what was it like at your first wedding?
It was super cool. Again, I wasn't stressed. I don't tend to be too stressed. So
no, I can't imagine you stressed, Elodie. I can't imagine you stressed.
I sort of arrived, and also because there was like, I knew she hadn't given up on a proper photographer to get me. I knew everything was extra, so there was no stress to be had. And I was almost congratulating myself, like, going like, oh, I've just remembered that I have to take a picture of the table. So, like, oh, great, Elodie, great idea. Great for remembering that wedding photographers do that. And so it was funny, but no, it went fine.
That's cool. And I guess she liked the photos.
Yes, she did. She did. Now that when I look at them, I'm like, oh my God, because I had no clue. I didn't even have like a wedding photography culture, and I didn't have such a massive photography culture as a general rule. So for me, the fact that, and the Frenchies are going to laugh listening to that, but the fact that lines are not straight, or the fact that, you're cutting off bits of bodies anywhere was not a problem.
Well, that's good though, isn't it? I think that's really cool. That's how you get your own style, just by just jumping into it though, and not being influenced by what everyone else is doing. I think that's so important.
But yeah, so I thought it was, amazing. And then now I look at the pictures, I'm like, oh, you could have made an effort on this. Oh, you could have not cut that person off, or just
but I don't think there's not many of us out there, I think, that have got images still on their website from their very first wedding. So yeah, I mean,
well, I actually have one.
Oh, you do, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
On my contacts page, I left it because I love this picture. It's just a golden hour picture, but I'm like, hey, got that on my first wedding. It's pretty good.
That is cool, Elodie. That's very cool. I definitely do not have any on my site from my first wedding. No, no, but I think that's really cool to just go for it like that. So yeah, no second shooting. Don't have that kind of wedding inspiration or anything. Just do it how you wanted to.
Yeah, I've second shot twice in my life. The first time was with an American photographer, maybe in 2018, so 2 years on. And my friend Solène, like a couple of weeks ago, before the start of the season, because I wanted to just like shoot a little bit before the start of the season, and that's all.
Yeah,
that's pretty much all.
Same as me. I've only done it once, only second shot once, and that was basically helping someone out. So then it was in London, so then we could go out afterwards as well and have a good time. So that's
exactly. Well, yeah, actually, this weekend I have Coralie Garavel. Your
so a family member.
Yeah, she's coming over, and she's coming to second shoot with me because. As well, it's like it's not a very long wedding, so then we can just go for drinks.
Oh, that's cool. Do you know each other pretty well? Have you met up before then?
Yeah, so we'd only met like a couple of times, and then she sent me a message last year saying, I want to go to New York, like to do some street photography. Do you want to come? And then I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come with you. So we went to New York together after seeing each other like 2 times.
That's really cool, Elodie. That is so cool. Oh, that's cool. And she's coming to the meetup in Paris in August, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's sleeping at my place as well.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'll be able to meet her then as well. So that's
It's like the Montmartre hostel, my house.
Oh, that's so cool. And then after that first wedding though, then how did you decide you wanted to do it as a kind of career?
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple more. So I had some friends getting married, and they were like, yeah, you can get crashed a wedding as well, as in photographically speaking. Like their photographer was super cool about it, so that was really nice of her. Cool. Yeah, I had some friends in London as well getting married, so I did their wedding. And then after that, I was like, okay, now I have some images to show, so let's just tell people I want to be a wedding photographer. And then where I was super lucky is, again, like the sociable side. At the time in the music industry, I had quite a few colleagues that knew people getting married, and all my friends in Paris are pretty much the same background, so like music, techie, Google, whatever. Or they're independent, so they're like makeup artists and stuff like that. So they all sort of heard of weddings here and there. And that's cool. How it started out.
Your big network again, just for being so sociable.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, it's always been the network. And because I was still in the music industry, because I was a bit cautious. I was like, okay, it's probably not going to work out, because who would want to book you? Because again, it's imposter syndrome and whatever. So I stayed at Warner. It was Warner that I was working for at the end. I stayed at Warner until 2019. Doing both. So I would only do about 7 or 8 weddings a year, because I couldn't do more, because my job at Warner was already like a job and a half. So so it went slowly but surely. And then when I couldn't stand working for Warner anymore, that's when I decided to properly leave. But yeah.
Did you leave like right around COVID time though? Was it?
Yes, I did.
Let's start a wedding photography business. There are no weddings.
No, it was exactly that, because we started talking about me leaving probably around May 2019, but because I didn't have an actual deadline, I was like, look, I'm happy to stay as long as it takes for you to find someone to replace me, but I need to know that we're doing. So in France, there's this way of leaving a company, which is like a redundancy thing, but where you agree that both of you are fine with you leaving, and you sign a paper, and that allows you to have the chômage, like the state benefits afterwards.
Oh, right. Okay.
And we have pretty good ones. So I mean, not anymore thanks to Macron, but we had a pretty good one. And I was like, okay, I need to live with that, because you never know what can happen, and the wedding business might not work so well or whatever. So I need to have that safety. But if you're ready to just like give me the paper, basically, then I can stay as long as you want until you find someone. So yes, I stayed until Christmas.
Oh man!
and then COVID hit February.
Yeah. Oh, what was that like for you? Were you okay then? I mean, so yeah, you didn't have that security anymore.
Yeah, but it's lucky that I got that paper, because then I was entitled to the state benefits from my previous job, because or else it would have been annoying, because you did have help from the state, but it was based on your previous year's income in your activity. And because I was working for Warner still the year before, and my photography activity was low on finances, like basically I didn't do that many weddings, it would have been super complicated, but so thankfully I had that paper that gave me the rest.
Well, that's good then. Oh, glad that worked out okay then, man.
Yeah. No, it worked out fine.
That's good. It's still surreal thinking back to those times actually now. It is surreal. It's surreal. But okay, Elodie, let's change tack to the bit that you kind of you referred to earlier about the upcoming quiz. Got to do it.
Oh no, I've forgotten about it. For about 10 minutes, I forgot about it.
So if anyone's listening for the first time, we're just going to do we call it a Netflix quiz, but it's really any kind of streaming service or movies, any kind of like film or TV thing really, anyway. And I'm just going to say the synopsis, and we're going to see if Elodie can get the title. You're looking forward to it, Elodie?
Can I do a disclaimer for?
No, okay, go on then.
So first of all, I don't have Netflix. The reason for that is I get addicted to series. So if I watch it, I don't stop it, and then I don't do any work. So the only times I watch series are when I go to my best friend's place, because she can kick me out of the door. So like we've been watching The Handmaid's Tale together, for example, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's just like every year and a half.
I don't have any series for you. They're all movies today. So that disclaimer has no merit.
So the other disclaimer is, and I think Driss was the one saying the same, it's just I do not remember names, and I do not. So I'm really hoping you have a Titanic in the title or a Home Alone in the title like you did with other people.
That's true. I have done some easy ones like that.
I need the dumb version, I need the one where you go like, it's about someone called Romeo and another one called Juliet. And then...
Well, I've done a special kind of theme for you because of your past history in the music industry. All the ones I'm going to ask you today are movies that are kind of like about either like a band or musician. So they're all movies based on musicians.
Oh, I have no idea.
I think you might get some of them. Anyway, okay. So hopefully
the only one that comes to mind is Almost Famous. Do you have that one?
I don't. That's a good one though. But no. I think you might get some. Anyway, okay. I'm going to give you a first one. Elodie, you ready? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do it. So they're all movies. Okay, so the story of the legendary British rock band Queen and lead singer Freddie Mercury leading up to their famous performance at Live Aid.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes, boom, there you go, straight away.
I did see that one at the cinema, so it wasn't so long ago, so I do remember.
Oh, it's cool. It was good as well, wasn't it? I thought that was good.
Yeah, it was super good.
1 out of 1 so far, 100% so far.
Yes, I don't have 0.
Okay, your second one. Okay. A musical fantasy about the fantastical human story of Elton John's breakthrough years.
Oh, that also came out, but I didn't see the Elton John one, so I can't remember what it's called. I wanted to go, but I didn't have.
Yeah, I've not seen it either, actually. But
okay. I see the one you mean. It's the last one that came out. It's Rocket Man.
Yes, boom. That's good. 2 out of 2, straight
yes!
on there. Okay, for the full hat trick then, this one might be harder or might be easier. There's a clue in the synopsis. Okay, so this is a lot older than the other two. Okay. World famous pop group the Spice Girls zip around London in their luxurious double-decker tour bus, having various adventures and performing for their fans.
Oh yeah, I did. I definitely didn't watch it, and I do remember that it did release something, but I don't know, Spice Up Your Life or something like that. Oh,
it's close. You got one word from it. You got one word.
Oh, spice, I guess.
Oh yeah, spice is the right word, and then it has something.
I don't know.
2 words, spice something, but no.
Spice World Tour. Spice.
Oh yes, well it's Spice World. It's Spice World.
Oh yes.
Yes. So there you go. You got
original in with the names in the music industry and in the film industry.
Spice World. Oh, that's funny. You got them all there, Elodie. That was great.
Yeah, thank you for giving me easy ones.
No, I don't think they were easy. They weren't easy. They were hard. That was good. I like that. That was good. It's nice to have a theme for that round, isn't it? That's cool. That's cool. Okay, Elodie, let's go back to your work. And yes, one of your specific reportage awards that I think is fab and wanted to ask you about is the toilet shot where you have a bride like using the facilities, and there's a plaque over the toilet that says Brad Pitt pissed here, which is a bit. So can you tell us more about that? And where is that toilet?
Yes, I can tell you. So that toilet is in this really fancy little hotel, which is in Paris, called the Hotel Particulier, which is 7 minutes walk from where I live because it's in Montmartre. And I actually shoot there quite often, and so I know that plaque by heart. And I'd been hoping to get a shot there for like. Every time I went, I would try and follow the bride, and then either she would look at me and go like, hello, because, I mean, we're not, like, I apologize to all the British people listening, but we're not British, so we're not as fun at weddings, and we're not as open, there's still, especially if you're getting married over there in that hotel, you tend to be a little bit, or think of yourself maybe as a bit classy on your wedding day.
Okay. Yeah, a bit more reserved, maybe, yeah.
So either I would have people like going like, why are you following me into the toilets, or I'd have people like finding it funny, but immediately seeing me and posing and going like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm never going to get that shot, am I? So then on that wedding, I just, same again, I was following the bride everywhere and then tried to follow her in the toilet. And I was like, oh shit, she's already closed the door. Shit, she's on, And then went back and literally had a second and a half or something to take the picture. Then she saw me, and then she started posing. And I was
wow.
like, shit, I've missed it. I really didn't think I had that picture. I was like, oh shit, she's she's got the head up and whatever, and she's like, she saw me and whatever, I'll try the next time. And it's when I was editing the pictures, I saw it, I was like, what?
That's so cool. That is so cool.
I saw I didn't have it, like literally. I do not remember myself at the wedding going like, oh great, I think I might have something, and then just checking it after. It was literally 4 weeks later.
In the edit. Well, that's cool to come across something like that though, isn't it? When you're culling, to come across a shot like that. It's really cool. The way you specifically focus on that plaque, but have the bride in the foreground, obviously on the toilet as well. It's very cool. It's part of real life. It's part of their story. But what about the Brad Pitt element of it as well then? Is that for real? Did Brad Pitt?
No, it's a lie.
Oh, is it? Is it a lie?
Well, I think so, because in the other toilets, I think so, but I should ask them actually, because in the other, no, it's definitely a lie, because the other toilet says Cameron Diaz pissed there.
Oh, right.
And that could have been true as well, because they are a fancy place, so they could have had like some Hollywood thing.
Yeah.
But then the third one says Jacques Chirac, like our old president, and I can't figure out why those three people would have gone there, even separately. So, but you know what? I'll ask them, because that hotel actually has a long story as well of being like a fancy house before being an actual hotel, like a house that belonged to someone with a lot of money. So
it could be true,
but no,
then.
I don't think it's true. Yeah,
but it could be true. But it's quite a random thing to put on a plaque if they're just making it up, isn't it? It's quite random.
Yeah. And it is like a place where Serge Gainsbourg, like the Je t'aime guy. Usually you guys only know that song Je t'aime with Jane Birkin. But yeah, whatever, like this old French singer that's dead now, that was smoking a lot and being rude to Whitney Houston on TV. He's usually known for that. He was like, he wrote some of his songs there and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Could be, but no, honestly, I think it's a lie. I think it's just that they just thought it was funny, or they saw it on Instagram somewhere or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's so cool to hear the story behind it. And does the bride herself know that it's like an award-winning image of her on the toilet?
Yeah, she does. Yeah. She's super cool as well. She didn't care about me like being in the toilets or being like wherever. When I could follow her everywhere. But she lives in Canada, so I think that's why she's more open.
Okay, that's funny. You referred to it there as well. I was going to ask, do you get that regularly? That kind of like all access, with your clients? But I guess it just depends on the client.
Yeah, I mean, usually I do, and if I don't, it's very clear. It's like they'll go and put their dress in the toilet and close the door, and then you just know that they just don't want you there, or something. But if not, usually I don't. I think it might help to be a girl as well.
Yeah, well, I think it definitely would in that situation.
Yeah, because if you were a guy, I don't know. She'd be like, "What are you doing in the toilet?"
Exactly. I don't think I'm going to try that at my next. I've got a photograph of a bride practicing to go on the toilet, but she was just practicing on a chair in the lounge. She was
yes.
Yeah,
but not the practice with the dress. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So, are the French weddings slightly more reserved than British weddings? You think?
No.
You photographed British weddings, haven't you?
Yeah, I do have. I think this year I have half foreigners and half French.
Okay.
Yeah, they can be a little bit more reserved. I mean, I hear a lot more like French weddings. I hear, mothers of brides telling the brides a lot more like, "Oh, be careful, don't cry too much because your makeup will go off," or stuff like that. But also, I think we just don't have the same humor, and British humor is like makes me laugh so much. And I think you have an approach to stuff that's funny. Basically,
Really?
The way that people show up at weddings as well, the fact that you have all those amazing hats and the colors and people, I don't know. I did live in England.
Are there not so many hats in French weddings?
You have hats, but it would be more of I would say more of a Catholic wedding type thing, so more traditional families. So it's more of a traditional thing, but it's like in England, I feel like even if it is traditional to have hats, people still do it. Like everyone still does it. It's not like because you're Protestant or whatever.
That's true. Are the British weddings more drunken than French weddings as well? Like more over drinking?
They're more drunken faster. So we drink a lot at weddings as well, but because we eat a lot as well, and dinners last forever.
Does it?
Yeah.
What are the other main differences between British and French weddings? Is it similar?
The
do you
times.
The times, in what way?
The times. You finish a lot earlier. I love British weddings. At midnight, you're in bed.
Yeah. Well, how late do French weddings go on to?
No, so usually venues close at like 4 or 5 or 6. I mean, it doesn't mean you stay until 4 unless you're called Patrick Lombard. He likes to stay late.
Does he stay right to the bitter end? Does he?
Yeah, I think quite often he does, or at least he stays like super late. I stay late as well. I always tell them. So I always tell my couples that I don't charge per hour. I just charge for the whole day. Okay. So I always tell them not to worry if the cake is late and if they start dancing later or whatever. And it's one of my actual marketing arguments, as opposed to some other people. But so I tend to stay until maybe 2:30. The last one in Puglia in Italy, they were still dancing at 3:30. So I think I stayed until 3:30. It doesn't mean I shoot like the whole time, but I will just like sit down, have a little break, have a drink, talk to people, and then as soon as they start playing Macklemore, I know everyone's going to go back on the dance floor, so then I go back and
play what? What song was that? What song was
Macklemore.
That? What is
Macklemore. You'll have to Spotify it.
Can't you sing it for me? Can you not sing it for me?
No, I think at some point, like they all go down on the they all sit down, like they all crouch down, and then they wait for that moment where they stand up again, and but yeah, it's one of the ones that the DJs will. So big difference is the timings. Obviously, you'll have speeches. You tend to have speeches, especially in the summer when it's still daylight, which is like so much nicer. Like we just have it inside, with 200 people sitting at tables in like a shit blue light on them or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and
still have a first dance. First dance still a thing.
I get first dances still quite a bit. The thing that I don't get as much is the bouquet toss.
I see less of that.
My couples don't do it much. Yeah, and then the cake arrival. I can't remember if the British do it actually, but
we don't have a cake arrival.
Yeah, exactly. We like to bring the cake with some music behind, and there's like sparklers everywhere, and it's supposed to be a moment of which I never really understood. It's like, why is it more important than the rest of the dinner? But yeah.
And you have that. What is it like? Was it like croque-bouche or something? What's it called?
Yeah, I think you call it croque. I think it's actually the English speaking that call it croque-bouche. We call it pièce montée.
Oh, that's quite different.
Like a mounted piece, basically. Pièce montée. So the one with all the choux. Yeah.
Oh, really? Is that what it translates to?
So yeah, it's like choux buns. But yeah, pièce montée, mounted piece, because it's basically lots of different like choux buns that you put in a certain shape. So the traditional shape is just like a triangular shape. But then some people go crazy and ask for like a tractor or something like that. If they're like.
Do you have those things at every wedding? So I've done like 4 or 5 in France now, and I think I've had that croque-bouche thing at like virtually every one.
Yeah, so that's the traditional cake, and then because obviously Instagram, American series and stuff like that, some people now have the big like 3-tier cake, and people that don't want to waste time with the cake because they want to dance and it's already been like 3 hours of eating, then they usually just choose like a buffet of lots of different cakes and then
that makes sense.
But yeah, the traditional cake is the pièce montée.
I bet the wedding food in France is better than the wedding food in Britain, though. Surely.
Yeah, I'm going to be a diplomat and say that it depends.
No, it's funny. Oh, I bet it is good in France, though. I bet it is.
Yeah, you know where it's really good? It's in Italy.
Oh, in Italy, really? Yeah, I've never done a wedding in Italy, actually.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Do they all have pizza?
Nice. Actually, one of the weddings I did this year, they had like pizza ovens, so they just did like pizza for everyone. It was super cool. Nice. But the other wedding, they had like a starter, so like the antipasti, and then they had, I don't know if you know, but in Italy, like pasta and risotto is not seen as a main, it's seen as like this thing just before the main, so it's smaller sizes. So they call it primo, and then so they had both. So they had a risotto first, then they had the pasta, and then they had the main, which was the fish, and then they had like dessert, and it's just so much food.
That sounds
So
good
yeah.
though. Oh, but that's making me hungry. Yeah, let's go off food. That is making me hungry. But you mentioned you mentioned Italy there, and you mentioned earlier about your traveling. So yeah, you do a lot of traveling, don't you? You're away for like a large part of the year every year.
Yeah, so I do the wedding season. So I usually come back. I usually make sure I'm back here for April. So I usually come back around March, and then I leave around November.
Where do you go? Do you go
And
somewhere different each year, or?
yeah, so there's one place I go every year now in November, which is north of Norway, because I go and shoot orcas and whales and northern lights,
Oh
and
wow,
that's
that's so
that's
cool.
the moment where you have all of that at the same time over there.
Cool.
And then for the winter, either I go somewhere warm, and usually it's just like a holiday, and I just like rest on the beach and just do like back office stuff for the wedding,
Mm.
or I go to cold places, and in that case, it's to shoot stuff as well because I also shoot nature and wildlife.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yes, so if I go somewhere cold, and wildlife for me is mainly the cool stuff, so like seals, polar bears, walruses, that kind of wildlife,
Wow,
and then whales. But yeah, so yeah. So I
that's
do
so
that.
cool. That's so different to weddings as well. That's
I
so
know.
cool. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think I have a bit of a schizophrenic approach to my life because it's like I live in Paris and I love living in Paris. I love how busy it gets. I love going out with my friends, and then I have to go. I have to like I miss it. I have to go to the Arctic, and I have to
Wow.
be like in Svalbard where there's no signal and like waiting for like polar bears for like 7 hours or 10 hours or whatever. And then yeah, and same with shooting, obviously wildlife and weddings, completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Do you
think
take like
I don't
with
know.
photographing polar bears? Do you take like huge long lenses?
Yeah, so not the massive ones where you need
The monopods
tripods.
and stuff. Yeah.
I prefer to be handheld, so I have like the 100-400 Canon.
Right. Mm.
I don't have it. I rent it because for me, there's no point in like having a lens that you only use here and there. So I
Yeah.
rent it every time before I go. And then I have my 70-200, which is actually my favorite lens ever, 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 ever. So
Oh,
another
that's cool.
schizophrenic thing is like weddings. I have two cameras. On one side, I have a 24 mil, and on the other
Mm.
side, I have the 70-200. I have like nothing in between.
No, no,
It's
but
like,
that's cool. That's super wide, super long. That's
exactly.
good. Yeah. That's
So yeah, so
I started with the 24-70 and the 7200. 7200 is a great lens, cracking.
yeah, I love it, and I will use it until it dies. Like I just love it. And even when I go traveling, even if I'm going like to a beach somewhere, I take my 70-200.
On a
It's
beach.
It's my favorite lens. I have to have it on me. It's just like I love it. So yes, the
I
70-200 is
don't
super good because sometimes they get close to you, and if they get closer to you, then it's even nicer than the 100-400. So yes,
that's
but
cool.
no,
Has
I
it ever
tend
been
to
a bit
just
scary? Have you
yeah.
ever had any like close misses with a polar bear or anything?
No, because I usually go on boats, so they decide if they get close to you or not. So
Okay.
you'll go spot a polar bear, and either you're in the pack ice, so you just stop the engine, and they come close to the boat, or they're on a mountain somewhere, and then you get onto the Zodiac, and then approach, and then just go slowly and see how they behave, if they're nervous or if they're anything. And they decide if they get closer, but you're on the Zodiac anyway, so you can go fast if they
Okay.
start coming fast.
That's
So
cool.
no, I've just had like a sad encounter last time I went, which was like a super skinny bear, and he came all the way up to the boat and was like standing on his feet and actually with his face like on the boat, so it was extremely
Oh,
super close. But yeah, he was just sort of smelling to see if he could, I guess, to see if he could eat something or something.
right.
So yeah, this one
Hmm.
was bad. So yeah, so it's not always happy.
Yeah, man,
Happy.
that's so cool.
So
You
yeah.
do all that though. And do you do most of your trips? Do you go solo or do you go with any friends or stuff, or is it a mix?
No, so it depends. If it's like polar bears, I go mainly with a company that has photographers coming. So it's all amongst photographers, but I
Oh,
don't know
that's
any of
cool.
them before I go. I just, but we just stick together. But everything else, I pretty much go by myself. So when I was younger, I was super scared of going traveling by myself.
Mm.
Not because I was afraid that something would happen to me, but I used to spend a lot of time in my own head, thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, if I go by myself, I'll end up up depressed or something. And then I forced myself to do it and realized that it was amazing. So I just organize my own stuff, and then I tell friends, "Oh, I'm going back to Norway that date to that date," and if they want to come, and then they can. But
That's
if not,
cool.
I just do my own thing. So yeah.
No, that's great. It's cool that you do that. Yeah, I think that's really cool. I've traveled only a tiny bit. I've been to Vegas sometimes on my own, and yeah, I just love it sometimes.
To Vegas.
I know, loads. It's mad. Like, I've been with groups, but I've been on my own as well. Like, yeah, and I've enjoyed it all. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
No, it is.
Let's go back to your wedding work, Elodie, and I like this question. So, yeah, have you ever made any really memorable mistakes at all? Whether that's on a wedding or like business side, or any memorable mistakes?
Hold on, I have to think about that.
That's probably good. That probably means there's no major mistake you've made then.
No, yeah, I honestly, it's going to sound horrible, but I actually don't think I did.
No, that's good. That's good going. That's good. Oh, I have.
No, I mean, I do the odd thing where I fall over and then, or I'm not very discreet, or I think, but that's just me, clumsy.
And with your great memory, I bet you've never called the bride and groom the wrong name then as well.
No, I don't think. No, I haven't. I've called like some of the close people the wrong name because it does take me a little while in the morning, even if I know their names. But you can mix up two sisters or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big mistake that it's like.
Have you ever called Oliver? Have you ever called Oliver Olivier?
Yes, that I've made that mistake. So I haven't called him Olivier, but I have when you type down names and your fingers go faster and then your thoughts. So yes, he actually was annoyed with me for about 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm saying this live on the podcast because he was super annoyed. And I was like, "Do you know how many times people have called me Melody?" Like, come on.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, that's good. Then no major mistake there, though, Elodie. That is good going.
No, I'm sorry. It's not very helpful, is it?
Well, no, I was hoping for a great story there. And
and it would go with the fact that I don't get stressed about stuff much. Yes. But I don't get hung up. Hung up, you say? Yeah.
Yes.
Or hungover. Yeah. No, hung up. I don't get hung up on stuff too much.
No, that's a great way to live life. Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
So yeah, I'm sure if a couple told me like, "Oh my God, we hate our pictures," or blah blah blah, then I would definitely get hung up on it for like about 10 years. I'd be like beating my stuff up. But yeah, anything that could be a little bit like shameful, like falling or saying something stupid, I just forget it immediately. I just assume it's part of me to be stupid. So yeah.
Well, that's a great outlook. That's how it should be. That's awesome. That's awesome. What do you find the most challenging aspect of wedding photography to be? What is the most difficult part?
For me, it's not even the technical side, although I'm shit at technical stuff. It's more like the fact that you work for yourself, and so you have to motivate yourself, and you have to market yourself, and it's all about showing off a little bit. And so when I was working at Warner, I could do I was doing about 15 projects at the same time, working like amazing hours, constantly working, and I would work a lot. Like I was reading the other day some photographer on some group saying like, "Oh my God, how do you guys manage? Like at the moment I have 30 emails per day to reply." And I was like, oh, that's where I realized like at Warner at some point I had 300 a day. So,
a day, really?
Yeah, a day, yeah. So I used to be super good, but then now I'm like working for myself, and I have to I'm my own boss, and I'm the only one that can tell myself off, and there's no structure around me. I'm like, you know what? I'll just watch a bit of Love Island, and then I'll go back to it. And then
Love Island is great. Love Island is great. It's cool.
But it's because I don't watch series that I watch like shit reality TV because I can stop it, whereas series I can't because there's like cliffhangers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Is that is that a French version of Love Island or
there's a French version that just came out. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing that, and then anything that's like putting yourself in the limelight is super complicated for me to do. So although I did probably like marketing for like 15 years almost, I'm super shit at marketing myself. So like I don't, do the stories on Instagram where I go like, so now I'm going, where you see my face and I'm talking to you and
you don't do that, no.
No.
You'd be so good at that though, Elodie, as well. You'd be so good at that because you just so much personality and so lovely. You'd be so good at that. Yeah, but
Yeah, but I find it super weird.
Oh, I do as well. I don't do any of those kind of things as well. And is it semi-linked to? You've mentioned it a couple of times earlier. Is it linked to imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think it's a word that's used a lot, and I think in creative people, there's probably about 60% maybe that would think they have that, and in
totally.
women, definitely more. But yeah, I think it's just. For me,
I feel the same way.
I don't know, because I'm still actually working on it in my head and trying to work on it psychologically, so it's not very clear. But I think because I sort of grew up in a definitely not creative family, and creative stuff was not a real thing. Like it wouldn't be a real job, or it would be too dangerous to go that way or whatever. Then anything that could be successful out of that, I have a lot of trouble working on. So weddings, it's okay-ish, because I go to a wedding and I have to do stuff. So it's almost like working for a company in a way. You have a bride and groom that are expecting some pictures. So that's okay. But like the wildlife stuff, for example, I've been like procrastinating like the domain name for 5 years. So I've just bought it, and then I have to actually do a proper website, And this scares me a lot, because it's like, oh, suddenly it's Elodie that is doing this, and it's not just the wedding photographer or something. I don't know if it's very clear, but yeah. So same with Instagram and this podcast. I was super stressed about doing it, because people are going to listen to me. I have nothing to say. Like I'm nobody. Like.
Oh, but that's so ridiculous. You have so much to say, and people are going to love hearing your voice.
Because I have a radio voice.
You've got a great voice, and you say so much interesting stuff and so fun to talk to as well. So people are going to love it. You would do so well on social media doing those kind of stories and stuff. You really would.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, maybe one day I will, but I still have that blockage. Like I don't. Yeah.
You'd also be showing all your clients that, you were saying you've got like 50% French weddings, 50% non-UK. You'd be showing those kind of non-UK people how fluent you are in English and just how lovely you are to be around and stuff. So I think it'd be a real good plus thing.
Yeah.
It's true though.
I think I'm going to watch Love Island.
That's funny. I get that procrastination.
There's still a lot for me to do and to learn and to get into, and to stop being so lazy, basically.
Well, no, you're not lazy. I get it though. I think the procrastination thing is a big thing when we work for ourselves. It really is. That's cool that you've got a domain for your kind of landscape wildlife stuff though now as well. Is that you could be putting that all through the books then? Once you've got a website or something, just sell one print or something, and then it's all taxable expenses, all your trips.
Yes. So no, because I'm not under that kind of status in France. So no, doesn't work.
What? Oh, really? Different statuses? Really?
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit the same as you have. You have the VAT threshold status in the UK. I think I read something online today about that. We have about the same, except your VAT threshold is like a lot higher than ours. And then so you have that, and there's a limit on that, and then after that limit you can go into like real society status or whatever, where you can actually claim that kind of stuff back, but then you pay a lot more taxes as well. So I'm staying under the other status where I can't claim anything back, but then I pay a lot less tax as well. So it's just it's just like different statuses. It's super boring.
You can't even claim. You can't claim expenses. No, I know. No. Okay, so in the UK we can say if you're not VAT registered, we can still claim expenses and stuff. So.
No, so basically the way I do it, I mean, there is a way of doing it, but it's super boring. It's like you have to have all the. So, for example, if you're talking train and a hotel, when I go to a wedding, you can do it, but it's like you have to have the invoices, like the hotel invoice in the couple's name and the train invoice in the couple's name in case the tax people at some point check out on you. So basically everything that goes onto your work account has to be taxed under that status. So if they reimburse you a train ticket, you're supposed to declare it unless you have that paperwork. So what I do instead is I just like have them book it for me. Like they just book it
that makes sense.
And then they pay for it direct, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's cool though. Interesting how things are different country to country. It's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. But hopefully,
Elodie, just look down. It's like an hour has flown by, and it really has flown by though.
It's almost finished.
Yeah. Don't sound so happy. It's been great. It's
No,
been
it's
really
like then I
good.
can go back to being anonymous again.
No, you've been so good, so easy to talk to, so interesting, and just so open. It's been lovely. It's been really cool.
It's
But
because you're very good at making us at ease.
no, I don't do anything. It's ace. But got time for one more question, Elodie. One more question.
Oh,
You ready?
oh my God.
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be a big one.
Can we have
It's
like a little drum roll?
I know,
like,
I should do, shouldn't I? I do play the drums like every day. I love playing the drums. It's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Good exercise as well. I really like it. Look, that's to talk about how sweaty I get. Actually, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but it's good exercise and it's cathartic. I love it. I really enjoy it. But anyway, let's go, because we've not done specific documentary stuff, I think, which is random because this is this Reportage podcast. We should be talking about that. Yeah. I know. What, Elodie, what would be your top tips or top tip or just a thought to help someone become better at the documentary side of what we do? Yeah, the documentary side specifically.
So I'm still working on it myself, obviously. Like I haven't had like 1,000 awards, but let me think. I think, I mean, that I already said, but for me, knowing the people is a lot like it makes it a lot easier, because then I can anticipate people's way of reacting, and then maybe sort of anticipate a situation from that. So that's a big one for me.
I think that is a big deal.
Yeah, but I think some people manage to do it without that, I think, but I don't.
Yeah, it's a real mix of me. I never meet them like you do before, like never. And well, especially since COVID, I think I've only had one physical meeting with a client before to take their wedding. But even about 50% of my weddings, I've not even like Zoomed with or something. I just so it's very different. But then like last night, I said I did that Zoom with the couple. I'm shooting their wedding in France, and it was so lovely. We got on so well, and it's made me feel more at ease about their wedding as well, because I do get nervous. So I can definitely see the benefits of that. I should do it more.
And I think also it helps me because so documentary style, your clients, they might have seen your pictures, they might know all of that, but they might not realize what it takes to get those pictures. So that's like the more you spend time educating them and telling them, look, so to be able to get like a picture like this or a picture like that, obviously not all your wedding is going to be pictures like this, but to get one of those, it means, at least for me, it means that I need some time at some point to just like step back, have a look, try and understand what's happening, and not be in the rush constantly, which I find really hard not to do, because that's my old me coming back going like, oh, I want to be helpful, I want to do everything, or I want to do this, I want to do that. So I'm trying to work on that and be less helpful. But yes, I think if you talk to them and you explain that to them, then it's a lot easier on the day to do it. And another thing as well, I tell them all the time, because I always have couples that say, yeah, we love the candid and we love blah, blah, blah. And then you arrive on the day and you have 30 group pictures to do and all that. So when I have them on the phone, it's super depressing. So sorry for people who are depressed listening to this already, but when I have them on the phone, I'm sort of schizophrenic on this as well, because when we talk about the posed shots, I always tell them, look, I know, blah, 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 it's not very interesting, but when you're 90, you'll be super happy to see how beautiful you were, so let's do a couple, And then after that, I explain the candid and the reportage approach, and then the example I tell them is like, look, your wedding is the only place where you have all the people that you love in the same place on the same day, because it never happens pretty much. And in 10 years time or in 20 years time, some of them will be dead.
Do you literally say that? Yeah, that's cool.
I actually tell them that. I tell them I'm going to give them an example that's depressing, but I'm like, it's very possible that in 10 or 20 years time, like one or some of them might not be around anymore. And what do you want to remember them by? Do you want to like have a look fondly at a picture where you go like, oh, good Uncle Dave, look how beautiful he looked standing next to 10 other family members looking at the camera? Or do you want to see him falling over on the dance floor because, oh, good Uncle Dave, you always like to have one too many. You probably helped him like leave us a bit earlier, actually, but he was the life of the party and da da da. So yes, I basically try and explain it like that.
Well, that makes total sense. Yeah.
And then people don't look at me weird if I'm actually taking pictures of someone vomiting or something, because they already know, because they know that person will die one day.
Oh, yeah, it's depressing, but it's true. Yeah, I think that's a really great way to educate them in that way. Yeah, no, that's so true.
No, it is pretty depressing. I'm pretty horrible, but
no, that's really good. Yeah, I think those are all great bits of advice.
And then the other 2 tips, but that's the 2 tips I'm thinking of, but that I'm trying to apply to myself. So I'm definitely not doing it well. It's the step back one, like step back to have a look at what's happening around. Because so many times I'm on pictures and I'm editing the pictures and I'm like, my God, how did I not see like the grandpa or something like, half cut in the frame? Just like, and going like, oh, why didn't you put him in the frame? Because he's crying, looking at what's happening,
Right.
So step back and that old, I think it's the 2-man that say that, but like, don't put your camera down, keep it on your eye. I never do that. I always put it down to look at what's happening, and then by the time you put it back on your eye, the action's gone. So yeah.
Well, those are all great bits of advice. Some things you're doing more and some less, but it's all good. We're all getting better all the time, hopefully.
I'm still work in progress.
Yes, so we all are, aren't we? That's awesome. No, those are great, and the whole hour with you, Elodie, has been so fab. Thank you so much for your time talking to me.
Thank you.
It's been so cool.
And do you know now how to pronounce my last name or not?
I'm not going to try it now. You'll have to listen to it back when it's out and like give me a grade of how I did. I will try my best. And but Elodie, I'll be seeing you in like about 35 days or so. I think it is not that long. So as I said before, it's a Meetup, TIR and TIRF members. It'd be great if you want to come along. So it's in Paris, August 15th, and we're just going to have a good time. Cocktails and cider. How do you say cider in French?
Cidre.
Oh, okay. That I could do that one. Cidre. There we go.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. So yes, Elodie, I'm going to let you go now. I hope your weddings coming up all go well, and I will be seeing you next month.
Yes. See you, and maybe see some of the people listening. I don't know when this is coming out actually, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going to come out. It's going to come out a few weeks before. So yes, hopefully if you're listening now, we'll be seeing you in real life, and you can hear how lovely Elodie is as well. So come along and see Elodie.
Yes.
Cool. See you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Merci.
You've been listening to the 130th episode of the This is Reportage podcast. And it is always so fab to talk to. Hope you enjoyed listening in. Head to thisisreportage.com for a link through to our website and to see the fab Reportage Awards you spoke about too. As we discussed on the episode, we have our TIR and TIRF summer meetup next month in Paris, France on August 15th. Members, the full details have been sent in the latest newsletters and in the Facebook group too. Hope to see you there. We now have 130 episodes of the podcast available where we speak to wedding and family photographers from all over the world. If you liked this episode, delve into our back catalogue for lots more. If you're not a member of This Reportage or This Reportage family, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 individual award and 18 story award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, exclusive discounts, hours of educational videos featuring tips and advice from some of the world's best photographers, and much more too. There's just a few days left to submit to our next awards round. The deadline is the same for both sites. Submit by 23:59 BST on the 24th of July 2023. No poses, nothing staged. This is Reportage. And this is bye for now.